I'd like to start off by asking my audience to consider something. Not only my audience online, but my audience from my class as well, since you all will be viewing this speech later. What I'd like you to consider is this bottle of water. I'd like you to consider what it's made of, what happens to it when you're done with it, when you throw it away. I'd like you to consider the impact that it has on our environment and how it might end up in a place called Garbage Island. Now, most of us are not familiar with what Garbage Island is. Garbage Island is a massive debris located in the North Pacific Ocean. The mass is so large that it spans from the west coast of North America all the way to Japan. The majority of the debris is made up of plastic, microplastics, things that are not biodegradable, that may break down in size, but they don't actually go away. Now, due to the size of the mass, no country is willing to accept responsibility or to undertake the large-scale cleanup that it would take to completely eradicate the mass. So now that we've gotten a little bit of background on it, let's look at how we might contribute to it and how we can make a difference on how it impacts our environment. According to the Duke University Center for Sustainability, the United States produces over 200 million of trash annually. Now, if an item is thrown away that is not biodegradable and it's not recycled, the impacts that that item could have on the environment are more widespread than we actually are able to calculate at this point. What we might not think about is when we throw away something like this in a container with, if you throw it in a garbage can on the street, or you throw it in a garbage can without having it in a bag, or, this gets tossed out a window, you're not thinking about where this ends up. Most of that kind of garbage is what ends up in Garbage Island. So plastic products make up the majority of the debris. It's important to understand why that is. Plastic is a very inexpensive material in manufacturing, so it's very widely used. Our water bottles. Something else you might recognize. These that hold our soda cans together. Very familiar with these. These grocery bags, also made out of plastic. We don't really think about what happens to those when we're done with them. We pretty much throw them away and move on. Well, what we don't think about is what these products are made of. Now, plastic, since it is the main component of Garbage Island, creates a lot of issues for animals and humans. Now, the debris disturbs the food supply for the ocean life. The ocean life is consuming the plastics, the bits of plastic, the microplastics. We don't really think about if the animals are consuming it and we're eating the animals, that we're putting that plastic back in our body. What's wrong with the plastic? They're actually made of a large range of harmful chemicals. The most common one being BPA. Now, we've all been educated on BPA. We've heard that it causes heart disease, cancer, it stunts brain development. There's a whole wide range of health issues that come from ingesting plastic. So when we're allowing it to go into the environment and then we are eating the animals who live off the environment, we're actually putting those harmful chemicals back into our bodies. Now, with that being said, typically we think of an environmental issue like that as being something that's out of our scope, that as an individual, I have very little control over. But I'd like you to consider that that's not true. There are a couple simple, easy ways that we can help reduce the amount of garbage that ends up polluting our oceans and being ingested by animals to then being ingested back by us. One of those things that we can do is recycling. Recycling, composting. What I did learn about this is that a lot of the local governments offer programs and classes on how to compost, on tips for recycling. There are a lot of support groups that you can actually learn a wide range of environmental activities that you can do that make a huge difference. I wasn't aware of composting until I did a little research. My city actually hosts a class once a month that teaches you about composting, how to do it, what it is, how to make your own compost pile. These are things I hadn't really considered, nor did I consider how easy they were. So that's something to think about also. Something else is being an informed consumer. Buy products that are biodegradable. The BPI.com is the Biodegradable Plastics Institute. They actually will tell you a whole list of products that are biodegradable that you can buy at your local grocery store, of everyday items that you buy. And the difference in different products is one might be biodegradable and one might not be. So BPI actually will help you determine which ones you should be using since they're biodegradable. Something else that we can do is decrease our use of plastic products. Take reusable bags to the grocery store instead of using these. Don't buy bottled water. Use filtered water instead. BanTheBottle.com is an organization that's dedicated to eradicating our use of bottled water. And there's a lot of information on there about filters you can use and little things that you can do rather than just picking up bottled water, which, since it's cheap to make, it's very inexpensive to purchase also. So it is easier to do that, but it's better for the environment to do things like buying a filter or, even drinking tap water. One of the things that Ban the Bottle talks about is that we've always been taught that tap water is not safe, when really it's the education and research that we need to understand that it actually is. So by being informed about our environment, we can be more aware of how we can do our part to help. Being informed also means that we can do small things that actually make large impacts on our environment. Things like stop buying water bottles, use reusable bags at the grocery store. Those are little things that, if we put those in practice regularly, are going to make a huge difference in our environment. Now, knowing what you know now, how do you feel about this water bottle? Do you feel differently? I hope so. Thank you.